I'm Adrian, the cruise and travel guy, and I've just had an opportunity to chat with the indelible Ted Lange of the Love Boat. I hope you enjoy our short discussion. Let's begin. Obviously, you're here to welcome and you're here to celebrate 50 years of Princess in Australia. What does it feel
Yes.
like to be celebrating such a major milestone for a company that really is inextricably linked with your legacy?
Yeah. It's so wonderful to know that it didn't end, that it went on. Uh, our television show, I think, helped to create and change the cruise industry because when we did it in the 70s, it was basically for elderly people who were towards the end of their life and they wanted to do that last push before everything ended. And it has evolved now to such a place where young people, middle aged people, as well as elderly people, like taking cruises. And to know that here in Sydney 50 years ago, I know that the cruise ships that you had 50 years ago are nothing like the cruise ships you have today. I mean, my goodness, the things that you can do on a cruise ship are amazing. And I think Love Boat is part of that legacy.
I totally agree with you. And I personally love the Love Boat, and I'm a huge cruise fanatic. And when I'm on a princess cruise, typically if I can't sleep, I'll watch the Love Boat on the TV.
Oh, really?
I love it. I binge it. And I was just in Florida for the Star Princess and had a lot of jet lag, sleepless nights. So the Love Boat was my company. And one of the things that I heard you say recently in an interview was that the core cast, really got along as friends. You actually genuinely liked each other. And I feel like I could sense that. Do you think that real sense of camaraderie helped the influence of this show sort of continue on through the decades?
Well, I think that's why the show stayed together so long. Back in the 70s, the show would last maybe 5 years. If you got seven, you were lucky. But our show, we got along so well that we went like almost 10 years, and that's unheard of at the time that we were doing television. That was not a usual occurrence. And the thing is that Bernie, Fred, and myself, we enjoyed each other's sense of humor. And we just liked performing together. It's as simple as that. And I'm fortunate in that I come from the theater, and I was able to do plays with everyone in the cast except Gavin, of course. But I wrote a play called George Washington's Boy, which is a history play about George Washington and Bernie. I cast Bernie in the play. Fred Grandy and I did I'm Not Rappaport together. And the second time we did it, we added Jill into the mix. And then I did a production of one of my plays, Lady Patriot, which is about the American Civil War. And both Jill and Fred were in that. So, you know, we you don't do that with people you don't like.
No.
You're not just doing it just for name value. No, if you like somebody, then you say, well, what can we do together? Now, I'll tell you this also. I did a fan cruise, and so I like to play poker, and I organized a poker game. So we played it in Fred's cabin. Okay. Fred cleaned me out. He cleaned me out. So a couple of weeks ago, we just had a fan cruise on the Regal Princess. So I organized another poker game. And so Fred was saying, are you sure you want to do this? Sam, I lost every penny I had. And I said, no, I want to do this. And so we played again. We played poker again. and just about with the same people, actually. We played poker again, only this time I didn't do so badly. I did kind of well.
When you're in these sorts of fan environments, do you get a kick out of people recognizing you as Isaac? Do you enjoy people, coming up to you in that sort of capacity? Is that a fun thing for you?
It better be.
Yes.
Otherwise it would be very difficult. We got two ladies that are fans that always show up on the fan cruises, and they make all of this paraphernalia for us. I got a Isaac baseball cap that they put gold lettering and, gems on, and Fred has one, Bernie has one. I've got a bag, a carry-all bag that has Love Boat insignia on it with all kinds of little stuff and my name on it. So yeah, people are really pretty good. And so it's nice when you bump into someone that appreciates what you've done as an actor.
I heard that you improvised the famous, now iconic two-finger two-finger greeting. Is that true?
Yeah, that's absolutely true. We had a producer. They said, we're gonna come in and we're gonna take a shot of you and we're gonna put you there. And so I said, okay. They said, stand over there with all the drinks, and I'm saying, well, why am I standing here? And the guy said, just stand there. I said, yeah, but I don't get why it's going to be used in the opening of the show. Yeah, but what am I doing? And he says, think about your paycheck. And that's how it was born. Think about your paycheck. Got it. All right, that's cool.
And I also heard that you took bartending classes or went to bartending school. Is that true? Did you do that?
Yeah, I was one of the few actors that when I was, working my way up in my salad days, I'm one of the few guys that wasn't a waiter or a bartender. So I knew nothing about bartending. And then you got to do your homework, and particularly when you're on a show that is in the top 5 the first year. It's like, oh man, I better learn how to do this, because they're gonna see that I shouldn't even be here. So I went to bartending school. They gave me 2 diplomas. They gave me one as Isaac Washington, and they gave me one as Ted Lange. And I said, well, what is the second one, Ted Lange? What is that for? They said, well, when the show goes down, you may need to do this. I said, oh, okay, yeah, that's a good idea.
And did you ever whip up cocktails for the cast and crew? Was that an Isaac thing or a Ted thing? Did you ever manage to do that?
It's not so much that I whipped them up as much as we were in the bar ordering, Yeah, we had some fun. There were a couple of times we had a thing called Fantail Dragway, which we had been in the bar. We worked our way outdoors in the evening to the Fantail, and we would sit in these plastic chairs, and we would have races backwards. So you'd sit, 2 guys sitting in a chair, they're facing, and then we would back up and the chairs would move along, And one day we weren't paying attention because we were a little drunk, and Fred Grandy went down the stairs. He went backwards down the stairs on Fantail Dragway. I went to the side and he went down. So we had to be careful with that, We had to be careful with that.
Putting yourself back in the shoes of Isaac, if he was to step on, the newest ship from Princess or one of these, what do you think he'd have to say about it? Do you think he'd be shocked?
I think he would love the evolution of the ships. The way the advancement of what the bar does, I think he would love it. The only downside for someone that came along in the 70s is it's hard to get a tip. They take these things, they push the little thing, and then that's it. Whereas before they used to, give you a little tip, a couple of bucks here, a couple of bucks there. That thing is gone now. So that's the only downside to it, is that I think that they would be, a little upset about that, but things evolve.
They do.
You know?
In that vein, what do you reckon Isaac would think about drinks packages? Because they certainly weren't really a thing back in the 70s and 80s.
That's what I'm talking about, is that you get all those drinks.
Yeah, okay.
And there's no tip connected to it, you know? I think that they would be a little bit upset with that, the drink packages, but it's really good for the passenger, you know?
Yeah,
but you know, here's the key to what I do is when I get on the boat, the first day I'm on the boat, I find out who my room steward is, and I give them a huge tip first day. Now that takes care of the rest of the cruise, because they're going to make sure with that tip, they're going to make sure you get treated right. And then I give them another tip at the end as a thank you for, you know, looking out for me. And I would say to people that are listening to you, find out who your room steward is and tip him on the very first day. And that way they make sure you get everything you're supposed to get. You know, they take care of your room as if it was theirs, because you took the time to recognize them.
Do you ever meet, or have you ever met anyone that was inspired to become a cruise ship bartender based on the role that you played?
I this past cruise that we did, a guy came up to me and he said, "You make cruising as a bartender hip." And I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah, I was a bartender, and you made my job, being my job, you made it very hip." So yeah, there have been people, and I've met young ladies and girls who will talk about Julie McCoy being a cruise director, that's what they wanted to do after they saw the Love Boat. So yeah, we inspired people not only to want to be a part of the industry, but to travel. We inspired people to travel. So we'd go to Hong Kong and someone would go, "I want to see Hong Kong." Or we go to Greece, Japan. You know, that was the beauty of our show, is we opened up the world to America, and they stopped seeing just the possibility of going to Florida or California. You know, the world was at their feet, and they could do it in a cruise. You know what I tried to do is I tried to read up on the culture, and then take, like they would say, "Oh, this year we're going to Egypt." Okay, so I'd read up on the culture, and Fred actually learned Arabic.
Wow.
He learned to speak Arabic. Okay, so that's what we would do is you'd learn a little bit about you have to figure out how to say, "I need to go to the bathroom" in a whole bunch of different languages. You know, so we learn that, we'd learn thank you, and then go for it. Because you want to get the best out of people in their country. This is your country. I'm a guest in your country, and I want to get the best out of you for being in your country, because I'm just a visitor.
As Princess celebrates 50 years now, is there in Australia, is there a message that you would like to leave with fans of yours, fans of the Love Boat, and obviously cruise lovers? Is there something you'd like to say?
I want to leave you with 4 words. Get on the boat. Take a cruise now, please. Those 4 words. Take a cruise now, please. Yeah, you know, the thing is, you'll have so much fun. And why not treat yourself? You know, enjoy yourself, because you got plenty of time to do the other stuff. You know, you got plenty of time to do the job and the work and you know, but every once in a while, you should pick out a week, maybe 2 weeks, where you get to treat yourself, go see another land, and let somebody else make up your bed.
Perfect. Absolutely love it and couldn't agree more. Thank you so much for your time, Ted, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your time here in Sydney.
Thank you so much.
I hope you enjoyed that interview. Ted is a wonderful guy. He's so friendly. I think I could have spoken to him for hours if I had the chance. Either way, I hope you enjoyed the chat as well. If you haven't done so already, you can give me a follow on Facebook and Instagram at The Cruise and Travel Guy, and give the video a thumbs up. It helps its reach across YouTube, which would be greatly appreciated. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon.